Hello everyone, my name is Margarita Bozhenkova and I'm a hypnotherapist and I focus on psychosomatics or somatic hypnotherapy, the connection between our mind and the body and healing on every level, on a mind, body and soul level. And it's very important to me because health is my number one value, and maybe in a different video I'll tell more about how I healed from various chronic diseases, but today I'd like to focus on my experience in meditation, because I think meditation is a very important part of the whole process of healing. This is my kind of first video like that, and I'll tell you, I have a little plan, so I'll tell you what I'm going to be talking about. First I'll talk about why meditation is so important, and then when I started meditating, what motivated me to do that, and then I'll talk about the whole process and the different traps that my mind set me on the way. I'm not going to talk about how to meditate, the right posture, because I think you can find that information everywhere online. There are a lot of sources nowadays, and I will I'll mention a few books. I think the most important books, or the most important ideas that these books provide, and maybe a few other things. Okay, so why I think meditation is so important in the healing process? Because meditation develops concentration and awareness, and when we are aware, only then we can notice what is going on in our body, all the different sensations, what our body tells us, what is the correlation between what's going on in our lives, different situations or conflicts, how we react in each situation. So it is very important to notice all these things, because then it helps you to find the root cause and start healing, change something in your life, let go, transform, and then your body will heal as well. And I will give you here as like one example of how our ego mind works. First thing, if you imagine that you go to the gym and you work out to make your body strong, your muscles. So meditation is kind of the same gym but for your ego mind. And it doesn't make ego mind strong, but it silences the ego and make our soul, our something higher within us, right, to become stronger within this structure that we have. So, and if we think about our body as a vehicle, right, that we came here, and here what we have, this like bio-robot, the perfectly created by robots, like a machine, and we just observe it from a little bit from outside perspective, right? So I have this wonderful machine, and so what would I like to do about it, right? How would I like to go about my life and control it and treat it? And our body is like a 3-year-old child, so it always for us. It fights for us. It tries to help us, like to do everything for us. It loves us unconditionally. So it's important to remember that. So and also another metaphor is about the circus. You can imagine yourself being in a circus in the ring, and if you have a wild animal in front of you that you have to tame, it's kind of similar, right? We have our ego mind, we have to tame, so it doesn't run around like on its own, which correlates to the idea how our thoughts are racing around and how we fall into the dream, right, where we're not present because our ego mind is thinks that it's superior and that everything it thinks is more important than being present, which sometimes is true, but a lot of times is not. But we have to recognize that our ego mind is very important because it makes us survive in the world. It always like keeps track of everything and makes sure that we're safe, right? But at the same time, in a lot of moments we don't need it, right? So this is the purpose of meditation. So how I came to meditation. So first it started when I went traveling to India. I did go to yoga, but I would just meditate maybe 5-10 minutes at the end of the class. But I didn't make it my everyday practice. And when I went traveling to India in 2013, it's where I met certain people that inspired me and motivated me. And the motivation was like, try to do it every day for 40 days, you know, how the habit is built. And when I came back home, so I decided, yes, I'm gonna give it a try. So I started with just 15 minutes a day. Here I'll tell you what happened during this time. So I started with 15 minutes a day, and then I was increasing the time by 5 minutes. And my mind would give me all the different traps why I shouldn't have meditated. So the first trap was some distracting noises or some thoughts that I forgot something. I would just meditate with my ex-partner. We were sitting together, and all of a sudden one of us would think, oh, I forgot to turn off the stove, or somebody knocked on the door, or something else, like all this different, even our phones were silenced, but all the different other things that our mind would bring up which were not true. When we didn't react, sorry, my battery is going low. So when we didn't react to this type of distractions, the mind started going into the body, and it was manifested in a way that like one part of my body started itching. And if I fell into it and I scratched that part, then a different part, it would be like over here, and then over here, and over there, and then I would find myself just like doing that, like constantly something would be itching, where I realized that's like totally a trap, and I just, when I didn't fall for it, I just kept sitting, even it was like really irritating each in some part of my body, those sensations would just disappear. When that didn't work for the mind, the next trap was negative emotions, and there would just like a vast field what your mind can bring up to the table, and here the only thing you needed just to observe, right? It's when we thought, then it makes it only stronger. So we have to accept every thought and just like be observer, and just thought comes and goes, and we are not involved into thinking it, right? Once my mind realized that I'm not going to think all these negative thoughts, it switched to positive. All this like wonderful daydreaming, and yes, it was even, I think, harder to not to think all these positive, wonderful thoughts. And once I just kept observing them, my mind, I think, at some point finally gave up and just quietened, and it was easier to just be present. And one more thing to tell about it is how I add up more time. So I started with 15 minutes, and then I would set up my alarm to 20, and my body would sit perfectly still for 15 minutes, and the last 5 minutes it was impossible. It was just like this restlessness that but I kept sitting still until my body just like and mind realized that we're sitting 20 minutes. Then I would add another 5 minutes, and I could sit for 20 minutes completely still, and the last 5 minutes was very hard. And I was increasing it more and more up to like an hour, and I would sit 55 minutes completely still, and the last 5 minutes I would be very hard and annoying and restless, and but yeah, I just you have to keep not pushing, but like be assertive. Also, one thing that another trap I remembered is falling asleep. If you sometimes you definitely feel tired, right? And even if you want to meditate, you feel that you just fallen asleep, and maybe it's a good idea to go. But if you know that you are fully rested, but for some reason you've fallen asleep, and if you fall for it and you stop meditating, then very probably every time you meditate, your body starts falling asleep. This is like a way out how to not meditate. So when I encountered this trap, I just I would do this exercise that I mentioned one of my stories called Trotika, where I would put a candle maybe like 30 centimeters in front of me, and I would just stare at the candle, just like concentrate, and the exercise even not to blink as long as possible. And if you feel that your eyes are getting tired, I would just go and wash my face with cold water and keep sitting. So, and then finally this thing will go away too. So this is, I think, all the traps that I wrote down. One of them could be pain, of course, sitting, but you just have to go over it. I had one experience where I was attending a Vipassana meditation. It's a silence retreat for 10 days. And I had a strong pain in my spine and my back. And I just kept sitting for, I don't know, hour or more, just like doing some certain like observation of the body exercises. And at some point I felt how this pain, it was just like that, I don't know, like a bubble. It burst, and the pain would just go away, and I felt like all this warmth spreading around my body. That showed me too that not all the pain is really, we can endure the pain. But sometimes, if for example my knees are in pain, I wouldn't maybe sit and wait till something is damaged, or I don't know, I would change my legs, and that's totally fine. Just feel what is comfortable for you, but at the same time remember about all these different traps that your mind probably, I don't know about other people's experience, it's only my perspective, but maybe it can be helpful for you too. Okay, let's continue. Had a little interruption in my video. And the last part I'm going to talk about is the books. And I picked up only two, make it short. The first book, I don't know if you can read it, it's called Mindfulness with Breathing by Buddhadasa Bhikkhu. So Buddhadasa is an Thai monk who wrote this book, and I'll tell a little story. As you remember, I went to India, and I met a few people who motivated me, inspired me to meditate every day. So after during this trip, after India, I went to Thailand, and I went to the island called Koh Samui, where there is a really amazing meditation center. It's like a really beautiful place on the hill. You can see the sea at the distance, and it's very peaceful. So I attended a few meditation retreats, silent meditation retreats there, and the main book that was there for us to learn is this one. And actually the retreats were in Russian even, partly. I was one in Russian and one in English. You could go to which one you want. Why I chose to share with you this book. I think it's really easy to start meditating, focusing on your breath, because we breathe every minute during like our life, and it's like an anchor that can constantly be with us. It's not like meditating an object where you create it. It's just like always with you, and you focus on your breath. And yeah, that was very transformational practice for me, how I started. The book explores different ideas. The main ideas is how to master your breathing and your body, and then goes to how to master your feelings and how to master your mind. So basically feelings and emotions, and not to be captured by them. And mastered mind is to learn how to observe thoughts and not to start thinking about them. Not to start thinking the thoughts, right? Just observe them. Yes. Okay. I would say this is a beginner book, very easy book to practice, very profound at the same time. And the other book look like that, very thin. It's called The Practice of the Presence of God. These are basically letters of Brother Lawrence. The letters came to us dating like 1660s or something like that, a very long time ago. And you could read it, but I would like to share with you the idea, not even like the text itself, but the idea that is behind the text. And this is so to be in the presence of God is spiritual practice. Why I think it is important? Because our ego mind thinks that everything it does is the most important. That's why it's very easy to us to just get caught into the thoughts, because like mind would find a million different reasons why it is important to think about it right now. And when we constantly keep in this I don't know how to say, feeling, right, of the presence of God, which is there like all the time, then for our ego mind it can't say, oh, I'm in some cases maybe it can, I don't know, but for me it can say, oh, I am more important than this higher source or God, right? And what I think is more important than this. So, and when you constantly keep in this idea that the God is always present within you, it's way easier to be present. That's what I noticed. Maybe that would be helpful for you too. And there are many other very helpful books. I'm thinking even to share with you and create a highlight with my favorite books, maybe in the future, in the nearest future. But that I'd like to finish this video on this note, and I encourage you to write and ask me a question in the comments, and I will answer them in the stories, and I will be very happy to answer your questions and let me know what you think and what your experience has been in meditation, whether you're just beginning, maybe already very serious, or you're in the middle. Maybe it's hard to say I'm in the middle because I don't know where I am, but you're like a serious practitioner. Yes, I'm very thankful. Thank you for watching this video, and I love you all, and have a wonderful practice.